Eric, what is the Eric Adjepong go-to Super Bowl food or beverage that you are going to smash?
The wings have to be in abundance at a Super Bowl party, or I might just leave. I might just leave, like right before the first like popular commercial comes up, and I don't see wings or I don't smell like buffalo wafting sauce wafting in the air. I'm headed out, and I'm probably going to a bar.
Oh,
Drinks, I don't know, man. I'm simple. Give me like ginger beer. Give me like Coke products. Give me like Pepsi products. And uh, man, I love an apple cider, like a hard cider. I'll do that. Yeah.
okay.
What about
Okay.
you? Where are you going?
Oh, I'm going ribs. I'm going ribs. I feel like wings, while they are the traditional thing, I feel like ribs are cleaner, and I feel like a plate full of wing carcasses just doesn't. It's not great for a party. I know it's a Super Bowl party, so everyone's gonna let it all hang out. It's fine, but I'm a big fan of a clean bone rib and just crushing ribs. That's my vote.
Wait, the rib graveyard is a lot worse visually than the chicken bone graveyard.
No, if they're cooked well, Eric. They're just bones. There's not like this meaty. It
Cartilage
looks
everywhere.
disgusting. Yeah, no, I'm not with that. All right. Well, before we get the show started, I want to ask you: wings, dry rub, buffalo, honey barbecue, lemon pepper. Like, what is your favorite wing sauce or no sauce?
I see, man, recently I just had, funny enough, a combination of the two, a dry rub lemon pepper with a little bit of honey on it. And it was like best of both worlds. You know what I mean? You're not getting your hands as sticky, but then like like the seasoning is like, intact. It's on it. You know what I mean? It's nothing like rubbing off. So I like that. I don't like an overly dressed wing. Not my thing.
This is Pack Your Knives. I'm Tom Haberstroh, and that's
Eric Adjepong. What's going on, y'all?
and we are going to do a big recap of this preview. The big news. Big news just dropped, Eric. Season 22 Canada. We have a premiere date. We have the contestant list, and we have a trailer. We have all sorts of press releases in my inbox. I've already read all of the Food and Wine breakdowns and the People magazine breakdowns and all the different characters that we're about to be obsessed over the next couple months. March 13th, Thursdays at 9. It's basically the same setup as we had last year, so no curveballs on that front. Big picture is that this is going to be in Canada, Toronto, Montreal, Calgary.
Our home and native land.
There's going to have to be a challenge in there where they have the Canadian national anthem for sure, which I think is a better national anthem than America's. I'm just going to say.
You know what? I was just going to say, Francis Scott Key dropped the ball on that one for sure.
For all the Francis Scott Key slander out there, we've got it for you here on Pack Your Knives. There's also Prince Edward Island, which is on the northeastern tip of Canada. And for those who are not good at geography, I had to look this up. If you wanted to go from Prince Edward Island and get in a car and drive all the way to Calgary, that's a 47-hour road trip. That is equidistant of Boston going to Los Angeles, roughly.
That's insane,
so
actually.
This is the largest Top Chef season we've ever had, right? Just in terms of like sheer mass of geography, they are doing a monster country with Toronto, Calgary, Montreal, and Prince Edward Island, and not sequestering themselves to one part of the country either. Yeah. They're doing pretty much the whole thing.
This might be just like a part of Trump's plan just to bring Canada into a territory, you think, ultimately?
Could be. Could be. This is one long plan here.
One long, massive plan to do so. This is massive, man. I think Canada itself, it's an amazing country. And to have Top Chef finally show face. But the thing is, there's been Canada Top Chefs before as well, right? They've done it before. And
they had Top Chef Canada, and they
they
had
had
their
Top Chef
own
Canada, right?
franchise. Yep.
Shout out to Gail. Shout out to Gail. So this is really cool to kind of have like an American POV over in Canada. The ingredients are going to be different. You mentioned Prince Edward Island, some of the best oysters. So there's going to be an oyster challenge somewhere. And
Mm-hmm.
there, man, the food, the poutine, what I love about Canada as well is the sort of hodgepodge, the mix, the beautiful sort of like integration of culture is where there's French Canadian, there's a huge Caribbean influence there. Obviously, there's an American and Mexican sort of influence there as well. So seeing how eclectic this cast is and then seeing where they're going to be cooking, I think we're going to see some really, really, really great food this season.
Yeah, yeah, and you can tell in the trailer, and we'll get into that in a little bit. It seems like some really high level cooking, beautiful food, and the reviews seem to be very strong from Tom. You know, sometimes in the trailer they'll have like some drama in there where Tom will be like, "This is Top Chef, you need to bring it." You know, something like that, where it's like you can tell Tom is like pissed off about the quality of the food. We didn't really get that in the trailer, where it seemed like it was pretty positive.
It's always like the third, fourth, fifth, like right in the, you know what I mean? Like the bottom half of the, or third rather, of the season where Tom's just like fed up. And you know that face, man. He kind of puts his head, burrows his head down and just kind of, peeks up. But I didn't see that in the trailer. But they could just actually be kind of throwing us for a ruse. I feel like it's always there. It always is.
Yeah. So there's 15 chefs. There are no returning chefs. I was waiting to see if you were going to be a part of the show, and you were just so good at keeping a poker face. Speaking of poker, go check out Wildcard Kitchen.
There you go.
Every episode, we're already in the thick of the season. So Eric, anything you want to mention there on where people can watch the show?
Yeah, Wildcard Kitchen Food Network. We're doing this on Tuesdays, 9 p.m. Yeah, we're in the thick of it right now, man. And the reviews thus far in the middle of the season have been absolutely outstanding. So thank you guys for watching. It's fun. I love the show.
And a lot of Top Chef alums.
100%. Tiffany Faison, Antonia is there. You'll get Brian Malarkey, Joe Sasto. We've got them all.
Voltaggio's.
The Voltaggio brothers. Yes.
Yeah.
Man, they have such like a true sibling rivalry. Like they respect each other to the core, but they always want to beat each other. And watching that like front view is always really, really cool. So yeah, man, it's nice to have like a transition, right? Seeing Top Chef alum now kind of in the Food Network space and going after it. It's a nice little pipeline that we've sort of created. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, speaking of pipeline, I want to get your take on the 15 chefs that we have here. Again, no returning chefs. There's a strong contingency from Chicago, strong contingency from Los Angeles, some New York roots. There's one hometown chef in Montreal, a Canadian chef, Massimo Piedimonte. Get into him in a second, but just top down, was this as exciting for you as it is for me to see which chefs we have, the roster? Because you might know some of these chefs. How many did you know?
You know what? Right before we started recording, man, I feel like I'm getting old because I only knew like 3. Like I've eaten the food from 3 of these chefs. And yeah, it's cool. It feels like draft day, like when everybody dresses up in their best suits. Shout out to the 2023 LeBron, like 5-button suit that he had.
Oh, yeah. The white just swimming in it. Like how big does a LeBron?
Like
Yeah. Like how big do you think a LeBron James, he's 6'8", 280 pounds, and it's a lot of cloth. Huge on him.
It's a lot of material. Yeah, a lot of material on that one, man. No, man, it's cool to see all the chefs. And I remember even for myself, man, how exciting it was because when this is going to be announced, probably like 2-3 weeks prior to the announcement. So you're kind of just like keeping the word quiet, just telling friends and family. And then when it goes out publicly, typically to People magazine, it's one of those like, man, I made it moments. And it's truly one of the best days in any chef's career. So I want to say congratulations to all these chefs for making it to the season and to a really monumental season. We're going to Canada, which is great. So yeah, Chicago. It's funny. It's the 3 cities that Michelin Michelin recognizes here. in the States, Chicago, LA, and New York. So this is really, really great to see sort of like the migration or really the concentration of chefs that kind of work in these three cities. Honestly, my three favorite cities to eat. I'll throw New
Mm.
Orleans in there. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I love Chicago food. I love the scene out in LA. And biasly, New York is the best. But man, this is really, really cool. I'm excited to see Lena. I've known her for a little bit, which is she's so smart, so quick, so intelligent. Her food is really, really great. I've seen Katina, and I've seen her restaurant. I went there at Yangban, and she had this like biscuit and gravy dish, as humble as you can imagine, but probably the most flavorful thing I've had in so long. So her food is fantastic, and like when I saw her on it, man, I was like, "Whoa,
Yeah.
these other chefs have their money, like they have their time cut out for them." And man, it's cool, man. It's really good to see these chefs. Everyone else, I'm just excited to kind of like know their personalities, which I think Top Chef is really good for.
Yeah. Yeah. Here's the roster. So running the names real quick, and then we'll go through each one here. Anya El Watar, Bailey Sullivan, Cesar Murillo, Corwin Hemming, Henry Liu, Kat Turner, Katiana Hong, Lana Lago Marcini. Am I pronouncing that right? Lago Marcini?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe. Sure. Massimo Piediamante, Mimi Weissenborn, Paula Endara, Shuai Wong, Tristan Epps, Vinny Laceto, and Zubair Mohajir. 15 chefs. There weren't any sort of new brackets like entry into the competition. None of these have been on Top Chef before. We've got some James Beard Award semifinalists and nominees on this roster, but it's not stocked with them. We've got private chefs. We've got part chef and part owner, partners of their own restaurants. So we've got a really diverse group of chefs here. And I also looked up just their Instagram follower accounts just to see like what kind of fame or what kind of following we have with these chefs. And just to give you an idea, the most followed chef on this list is not like a huge, it's not like a super celebrity chef. We have some rising star chefs. The highest 100%. Is Lana. She has 15,000 followers on her Lana Cooks account, and that's the high. The average is something around like 5,000. There's a chef, Cesar, who just launched his Instagram account because
Cesar, where you been?
Top Chef was being announced, and he's like, I got to do this. So 54 followers for him. So it looks like a young group of rising star chefs that yes, they might be James Beard nominated, but they're getting after it for Top Chef. So,
what I would be really interested in seeing now that you mentioned that is the sort of rise in Instagram followers throughout the season. Like who picks up the most steam Instagram followers as the show sort of progresses. Lana, she's a beast. I love following her. She's a great follow. So fun, so interactive, funny as well. I met Katiana through IG, and she invited me to a restaurant, and that's where we sort of became pals and everything like that. But it's cool to kind of have sort of everyone on the same playing field. Sometimes with different seasons, you have a seasoned chef who's got like 2-3 Michelin stars under their belt, and somebody who's just like coming in for the first time, and there's a little bit of a gap as far as like the experience is concerned. But I love the fact that everyone feels as if they're like coming into this on even footing, and that's great. I think it levels the playing field and an intimidation factor as well. Like when you walk in the room and you see like, I don't know, Brian Voltaggio or Michael Voltaggio, and like the sort of like background that they got, and you don't, you're kind of just like, you're in your head before the game even starts. And that's one thing that I promise you won't be as big this season come around, because I always say at least a third. There's going to be at least 5 chefs that kind of just get in their head and eliminate themselves, by themselves without anything to doing with the challenges. I think that's going to be less this go around now that everyone's sort of on equal footing. What's really going to hit and what we're really going to see is like the first two challenges. Who's going to win? Who's going to pick up steam? And that's the person that's going to have the target on their back.
In there, have a target on their back, whether it's said or it needs to be said. Everybody's looking at that person and being 100%. Like, hey, they came to bring it. I want to take that person down. Yeah.
Yeah. For sure. No, I mean,
go ahead.
Yeah, no, I think you're exactly right, man. But it's a good place to be. It's a good, pole position to have. You got to come out strong, new cast, new hosts, new country, you want to come out and really just like bring it.
First chef here, Anya El Watar. She is from Moscow. She studied at Columbia University. She emigrated to America at 18, according to the Bravo TV bio here that I'm reading. She continued her formal culinary education at New York's Natural Gourmet Institute. In 2016, she launched Project Butterfly in San Francisco, catering venture dedicated to providing meals for charity fundraisers. She later opened Birch and Rye, an ode to Russian gastronomy with a contemporary California twist. By the end of 2022, she had been named Eater San Francisco's Chef of the Year with Birch and Rye, earning a coveted spot in the Michelin Guide and a James Beard Awards semifinalist for Best New Restaurant.
Wow.
That's a pretty impressive resume right there.
I was impressed after Columbia University. Like, when's the last time we had an Ivy League chef on Top Chef? Like, I don't think that's ever happened before. So clearly she's got the brains. Clearly she's got the skill. And that could be a deadly combination, man. Like, you have someone who can not only cook their way, but sort of like have the intelligence and kind of know how to put things together. I mean, if you go to Columbia, you're not only book smart, you're probably very like emotionally intelligent as well, which also plays into, Top Chef and helps you out. So I'm really interested to see Anya. I don't know her food too well, but I think this is an awesome opportunity for her to kind of show off.
Well, you know who went to Columbia University is Kevin Arnovitz. So you know that she's very high IQ, for sure. For sure.
That's right.
So one thing I note about Anya is her restaurant in San Francisco closed down last March, Birch and Rye, the one that won all these awards, because they just couldn't make the business work with all the elevated and scratch ingredients, and all the costs were just too high for her to keep the restaurant open. So she's got a chip on her shoulder for sure coming onto the show. If it closed down a year ago, then I'm presuming taping happened after that. Yeah. Just the
soon
timeline
after.
Soon after she would go on to the show.
You know what? Yeah. She's coming in like, that scene in, The Last Dance when Jordan was watching the old clips and he's like, I had the chip on my shoulder. I feel like that's her right there, she's coming in hot, and that could help. You have to have a little bit of an edge, I think. You can't be buddy. It's nice to play nice, but like when you're in this, especially with the money on the line this year, it's a lot more than any other season. I feel like, right. So you want to go in, and for someone who just unfortunately closed the restaurant down, that money's probably a very, very attractive sort of incentive to win it all. So I'm really looking out for her.
Yeah. The big headline here, you mentioned it, $250,000 grand prize, the biggest prize money ever on Top Chef. Nice. When you include a $125,000 flight credit on Delta, which Eric, as a
what
yourself,
get you from like New York to San Francisco in like one trip. But no, that's awesome.
$125,000 in credits. There you go.
It's a lot of money. Yeah.
Then over $150,000 in cash prizes available to be won with the quick fire challenges and the elimination challenges. So there's over $500,000 to be had up for grabs. So Anya, that's Anya. Then there's Bailey Sullivan, Chicago. She's hometown Chicago. She's from Chi-Town, currently in Chicago. She's a chef de cocina at Monteverde. I believe Bailey comes from like the Spiaggia, Joe Flam, Beverly, Kim, and there's a tree there. I feel like there's a Top Chef tree there.
There's a little bit
like
of a
if you
tree
go
there.
through this. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like the Popovich sort of like line of chefs. It starts with Izard, Izard, and then Flam, and now we have Bailey, and I'm really excited to see what she has and what she's all about. Chicago, I love Chicago, man. Chicago's food is so like authentic, and what I mean by that is not like in a cheeky way. It's truly like we don't give a f about like anybody else, what they're doing. We're making our food. We're it's super straight to the point, and I'm interested to see Bailey. I haven't had her food specifically, but just knowing the chefs that she's worked under, I mean, like it's pretty seamless. So she's obviously really great. And growing up in Chicago, I know she's got like a sort of like FU attitude. I just inherently, I don't
Yeah.
even need to like know her personality. I just know it's there. And I love that. Like I want somebody with just a little bit of edge. There always has to be one or two of those chefs. And I want to see that. So hopefully Bailey can bring that out.
And she grew up in her dad's pub called Goldie Burgers. It's in her blood, literally.
That's so
Chicago and food
so
is in her blood.
That is so
Right?
Chicago. It's so Chicago, but it's also so like, man, it's like the original coming of age chef story. It's not, I feel like more recently, and maybe I'm a part of that. It's like, yeah, I went to school. I was inspired by mom, whatever the case is. Like she grew up in the restaurant, in the pub, I can't even imagine how many bar fights she's broken up, in between. But no, it gives you edge. It gives you some sort of like grit. She's not going to be intimidated. I can immediately know that right now by just her upbringing. She's not going to be intimidated. She's coming in, maybe with like a quiet humbleness, but she's going to be fierce, 100%.
Yeah, she also worked. I mentioned Beverly Kim at the Michelin starred restaurant Parachute before joining Monteverde, and she also worked under James Beard Award-winning chef and Top Chef finalist Sarah Grunberg. And I think Beverly and Sarah had like a rift during Top Chef. I think they since have made up, but basically this tree is Popovich like. This is a very strong tree that she comes from. And for all the cat lovers out there, she has two cats, Giuseppe and Arthas. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. Arthas, Arthas. She also enjoys karaoke, which you started off the episode with a rendition of the Canadian national anthem, and I would love to hear Bailey's rendition as well.
Oh man,
so
a good karaoke
that's chef number one from Chicago.
What's your go-to karaoke song, by the way?
Go-to karaoke song. My wife and I, we like to do Time of Our Life from Dirty Dancing, but I do the saxophone part too. So there's a sax solo in there.
Yep. Are you lifting her up? Are you going to lift her up during that?
Yeah. She lifts me up, Eric. That's how it works. We flip it on him. Okay. You come in thinking we're going to do one thing and we're going to do a whole other thing. She's Patrick Swayze and I'm whatever her name is. I forget her name from the show. So then there's also the next one here, Cesar, the one who just launched his Instagram account. He's from Dallas. Cesar. He's currently in Chicago, and he's the executive chef of North Pond. Not familiar with that restaurant. Maybe I should, but Cesar Murillo. He's a marathon runner. He's from Dallas, Texas, like I said, and worked under Skip Bayless's brother. That's how I'm referring to him. Rick Bayless over at Frontera Grill and Zacco. Is it Chaco? I don't know how to pronounce it.
I think it might be Chaco, yeah. But I usually say Skip Bayless is Rick Bayless's brother. Like Rick Bayless is like, he's the man. He's as Mexican as you can get without being Mexican. And Cesar is number one, an amazing name. I wish my name was Cesar. Like it's such a cool, like how do you introduce yourself? Like, hey, I'm Cesar. International man of mystery. In addition to like not having an Instagram and sort of keeping cards close to his chest, another wild card shout out. He just seems very like reserved, very like stoic. And I like that. I mean, that sort of quiet humbleness, that quiet sort of confidence can bode really well for a chef in Top Chef. I imagine Cesar being the guy that's like, after the challenges are done, he's going straight to his room. He's reading his notebook. He's kind of like putting, maybe some Carlos Santana on in the background and kind of just like zoning out to that. So I like that. I'm curious to see a little bit of what he has. As you, I'm a little bit ignorant to North Pond, but now that I know, I'm curious. And anytime I'm in Chicago, I'm definitely going to reach that place out and try to get some of that food. But man, he looks cool. His name is cool. He looks like he's going to be a badass.
Yeah, and the whole marathon aspect, where Danny Garcia last season was a big runner, and he was all about going out for a long run to kind of get your zen. And the same thing with Gregory Gourdet. We know that he's like an ultra marathoner, and like is a guy that just does extreme long distance running. So I feel like if you're a marathon runner, you also went to San Francisco to expand his knowledge, according to the bio, of Mexican cuisine at Napolito and Cocina Latina. So he's Rick Bayless tree. He's a marathon runner, and he doesn't have Instagram. Producer Anthony Mays also mentioned that feels like an advantage. If you're not on social media, I feel like that's a huge advantage for just your focus. Just like you're not even consumed. You're not even like if they take your phone away, Eric, are you upset? Are you even bothered by the fact that you're going to be taking away your social media?
I didn't think about that. Like he's already in mode, he's already in quarantine mode. Yeah. I didn't think about that, which could be a massive advantage. There's going to be like that sort of like withdrawal, right? That folks are going to have without their phone, but he's going to be like in mid form, and he's a runner too. So yeah, in addition to kind of just like sequestering himself in his room, he's going to sequester himself on the road, like getting some miles in while he's thinking about his next dish. I love that.
I already know he doesn't listen to music when he runs. I already know that. There's no way.
I think the opposite. You ever see The Accountant and he goes home like after the fact and he's got this like blasting heavy metal? That's probably it's either one of the two extremes, like death metal while he's running, or nothing at all.
All right, Corwin Hemming. He's from Augusta, Georgia. He's currently in Brooklyn. Where Brooklyn at? He's he's a guy that has 1,441 followers as of this taping. Ooh, so he's a rising chef on social media as well. Howard University, smart dude, degree in marketing. So he knows, I feel like he knows how to do a presentation of his dishes. If he's got a degree in marketing, you got to market your food very well with great presentation.
Which is a huge advantage when you're storytelling. Unlike a lot of the newer shows, culinary shows where there's like a blind tasting, Top Chef still has the tried and true mark of like being able to explain your dish, tell a story, which is a massive sort of advantage to just getting the chef or the judges to kind of understand where your mindset is at. So the fact that he has that marketing degree is going to really, really help him out, I think, tremendously. East Coast up and down, like, Georgia, Howard University, now in Brooklyn. So he has a really good feel of like the East Coast sort of food scene, which I think is big. And unfamiliar with him as well, but I love the contemporary Caribbean that he's doing and that he's sort of championing as well. It's great to see chefs kind of like have a focus and regardless of what the challenges are, you kind of try to put the challenges into your POV. And I think that's what Corwin's going to be doing. I love the private and pop-up chef sort of background as well, which means you're most definitely quick on your feet. And you have to kind of like roll with the punches. There's typically, most often when you're doing like these private events, a couple of things that go wrong or like unexpected or something falls or whatever the case is. And unlike in a restaurant where you can call a vendor last minute or even just sort of like pivot, there's nothing. It's you and the elements. And the fact that he has that to his advantage and sort of background, I think that's going to play really, really well for him. I'm excited to see him cook.
Henry Liu, he's got a great mustache, so he's got that going for him, Joe Sasto style. He's from the Bronx. He lives in Houston. Occupation right now, he's a chef and owner at June and by Kin. So a Bronx native, Eric, you're already big fan.
I gotta tell you, Henry is already sweet at my heart, man. As a Bronx native, I'm going to be pushing for Henry. Shout out to the Bronx, the best borough in all of New York City. And the fact that he's there repping is really, really cool, man. I'm excited to see him cook. I feel bad because I don't know his background as well as I should. But I'm excited to get to know him. Hopefully he drops a few, hip hop references and some Yankee references in there, for the Bronxites in the world. But man, he looks cool. You said it. That mustache is freaking epic. Definitely took him a couple of years to grow. So I know he's dedicated. And yeah.
Yeah, he had stints as a sous chef at Pearl and Ash, where the restaurant earned 2 stars from New York Times and was featured in Bon Appetit's 2013 Top 10 Best New Restaurants. He then was at the For Happy Men Hospitality Group as an executive chef, and he was featured in Eater New York's 2018 Best Dishes and Food and Wine's 2019 list of things you don't want to miss. Then he went to Houston and he partnered with Evelyn Garcia to open up June. I knew that's where that was.
Love it.
So there's a Top Chef connection right there.
I'm also seeing not only the Top Chef connection, but I'm also seeing his stint at Lama Inn, which is top 3, one of my favorite restaurants in all of the world, especially New York. I love Lama Inn, Lama Sands, that whole franchise. We both worked under the same chef, so now I love Henry a little bit more. Chef Eric Ramirez, who's the chef for Lama Inn, was my chef at a restaurant called Nuella in New York. Heavy on the Peruvian food, heavy on the Japanese food, heavy on the sort of like mix between the two. So I just fell in love with Henry just a little bit more right now. And I love the fact that he has a little bit of my sort of like background in New York as far as our stomping grounds are concerned. And he's from the Bronx. One more time, just had to shout that out.
So if I take him with the number 1 pick in this year's draft, how much draft artillery am I going to get from you? Like, are you giving me like 4 picks?
Yeah, man, I'm going to have to, there's going to have to be some compensation. Yeah, there's going to have to be some compensation. Yeah. There's going to have to be some compensation, either monetary or some picks. I'm going to have to string your way for Henry. But no, man, I would love to have Henry on my team just for like hometown sake. I know specifically his training because we've trained under the same chef. So like, there's a little bit of that sort of like home cooking that I think Henry and I will connect to. You know what? I'm going to say it right now. Watch out for Henry. Watch out for Henry.
Okay. Big Henry fan, high on the big board for Eric.
Yes, sir.
All right. Next one, Kat Turner. She's from Sturgeon Bay, Wisconsin, Door County. Shout out to Wisconsin. If you haven't watched yet, go watch Top Chef Wisconsin last year, season 21. She's living in LA right now. She is the executive chef and partner at Highly Likely. And I'm just telling you right now, she is after my own heart because her restaurant is a probability pun, like highly likely. This is great. I'm such a nerd that I like the name of this restaurant because it's just a probability term. This is great.
You know what? She's done her own research and she knew specifically that that she would have a soft spot in your heart. I love the name, Highly Likely. I love like, quick, straight to the point, sort of like make you think names and titles for a restaurant. She, to me, seems so interesting. Her look, her background, the probability, she's probably like a math nerd at some point. I see also burlesque dancing. Yeah. That's insane. So clearly she's like comfortable in large crowds, which is going to be a massive plus for her when it comes to those group projects and those sort of like restaurant awards if she makes it that far. But another chef, again, super excited to get to know throughout the season. Her food seems very, very eclectic. I love where she's from and, sort of the background that she has as well. And the pivot that she's made. She's going to be a force.
She is an actress or was an actress in Hollywood. I'm looking at her IMDb page. She has 6 credits as an actress from 2006 to 2011. I can't remember an actress on Top Chef. Can you? Like, I can't remember one.
You know what? We have now Ivy League and actresses. Like Top Chef is going deep in the casting pool right now. I love it.
That's right.
Yeah.
We've got next up on the list, we have Katiana Hong. She is from Clifton Park, New York. So that's upstate New York by Syracuse. She lives in Los Angeles. She's the chef and partner of Yangban, I believe with her husband that they've opened up that place. She's got 10,000 followers on Instagram. She's a known quantity coming into this competition.
I think a very strong favorite. I gotta say, having her food, like I mentioned at the top of the bill, man, she can cook. Katiana can cook. She's like a chef. You know what I mean? She's the chef. She has the restaurant that the chefs go to. She's like, in the know. Her food is just so bold and flavorful and like perfectly seasoned. I know for certain that she's going to do well. There's no doubt in my mind because it's funny. I went with, KBC, Kelsey Bernard Clark. I went with Mei
Mhm.
Lin, to her place, Yangban, and we ordered the entire menu plus more. She kept just bringing food out and each and every single dish was just like a hit, a hit, a hit. It was like the greatest hits. She's great. Man, I'm excited. And you know what? I was probably the most excited seeing her name pop up. And I'm just like, yeah, of course. Why not? She deserves this moment. Like you mentioned, building a really strong following on social right now. And I think this is an opportunity for her to really like stamp herself, nationally and internationally now that we're in Canada.
She's strong, very strong.
Period.
San
Yeah.
Francisco Magazine named her Rising Star Chef for pushing the boundaries of fine dining with her creativity and nuanced approach. I mean, her bio is just it's
It's riddled with amazing
paragraphs.
things. Yeah, it's legit.
Yeah. 2023 James
Tatiana
Beard
Cohen.
semifinalist for Best New Restaurant. Up and down acclaim. So
Yeah.
yeah, man. She in the trailer she mentioned she's the only female chef de cuisine to be part of a 3-star Michelin star restaurant. So I mean,
Yeah.
the chops is crazy. So I'm going to be looking at her very high on the big board as well. Not to reveal too much about what I got going on here. Let's go with Lana. So Lana, who is someone that you're a fan of, you've already been following her or already been associated with her cooking. So another big name coming into the competition.
Also from the Bronx, the BX.
The BX.
That's it. Period. Yeah.
I'm already seeing like this is going to be a tough draft. Like this is going to be a really tough draft. I mean,
you know what? I'm going to do my best not to like vote or draft with my like bias. It's going to be hard, but I love Lana. I really do. I adore her. She's an amazing chef. Again, hometown gal. So we met. We might have actually met in the Bronx, funny enough. And she's just like killing it on social. But yeah, man, go ahead, run her off. Yeah.
What does James Beard boot camp mean? Like, what does that mean in the chef community?
It's really like the Academy, the James Beard Award Foundation kind of has these like in between moments where they look out for rising star chefs, chefs that are making moves and making waves, that are not necessarily ready for the like big stage bright lights of having their own restaurant, and maybe it's monetary, maybe it's just you're not there, maybe you just don't want to do that right now in the moment, but you're doing something very food and focus related, and you're making a really big way for yourself. So the fact that you get recognized by James Beard and the foundation itself, that they can like see, hey, this chef, in this case, Lana, is doing some really, really cool stuff with her platform. And she's bringing a lot of attention to her cuisine. And she also has a bunch of like philanthropic sort of like endeavors as well. She's just all in all, like a great sort of like ambassador for the industry. I think Lana is doing a great job being so young, and sort of having just the knowledge and the spirit to kind of like take the baton and really stamp herself as a chef, man. I think she's doing a great job, and I'm glad that the James Beard Foundation recognizes that.
Yeah, and she also, on her bio, she learned under Francis Mallman in cooking in Patagonia, which I believe that was on Chef's Table on Netflix a while back, and there's a whole episode, and it was mind-blowing. I loved that episode.
Yeah.
Also, plays into Canada. Cook if there's a cooking outdoors, like she's got it. She knows how to do an open fire cook.
I mean, when you're in the Bronx, you also know how to do an open fire cook as well. Just so no, she has it both in the urban setting and in the suburban setting as well. Lana's amazing, and then also like a big shout out. She won a really coveted award for Black Women in Food by Darren Diaspora. Two women that I love dearly, Nana and Mame, out here in DC, and there's so much like synergy with us New York chefs and sort of East Coast chefs, and getting that recognition from Darren Diaspora was a really big push for her and her social platform as well. So, man, I'm excited. I think she's going to be great. I know she's going to be great.
I mean, think about, the last like 4 or 5 chefs that we named, you and I are both like glowing about like, I can't wait to see them cook.
It's a great cast thus far, man. I'm excited.
And then we got the villain. Okay. Massimo Piedimonte. In the trailer, he was the Chef Brandon. Like, he was the guy that they were going to paint as the villain, the bully. They had one little clip where I think he was trying to use an oven or a stove.
Yes.
And he shuts the door. I think it might have been Paula, and she's like yelling like Massimo, and he goes something to the effect of like don't bother me, let me do my thing, and slams the door and then walks away. And then they cut to him like chopping up a fish, and then he says in an interview, I have a little bit of ego on me. I have a little bit of an ego, like kind of wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Yeah.
What did you think about that? Like, is this an editing trick that he's actually going to be a nice guy and they just want you to be a villain?
Top Chef does a really great job of keeping viewers on their toes about like these chefs and their personalities, especially in the intro promo, man. So I gotta say, with what they sort of like projected Massimo to be, I'm gonna zag where they're zigging. I think he might be the sweetest guy there. I think he might have like a heart of gold. He's representing his entire country, which is a lot of pressure. Like, that's a lot. You got to be honest. So you have to have a little bit of bravado. You have to have a little bit of ego. You have to kind of come in with your chest puffed out a little bit, because this is like home turf. You know what I mean? Like, this is the Raptors. This like 82 games where everyone's playing in your court, right? So I think with that, he naturally just wants to kind of like do the best that he can. And sometimes here and there that comes with, a cracked cutting board or slams oven door. And, that is what it is.
It's a long season. There could be a lot of material to portray you as a villain.
Exactly.
Right? So he also worked under Boulud and Rene Redzepi at Noma. So wow, holy shit. Some great background there. And he's the chef and owner of Cabaret L'Enfer. And Maze, you can help me with that pronunciation. I'm not French. I don't speak French, but Montreal guy. So this is going to be really interesting. Massimo Piedimonte.
Yeah.
Piedimonte.
You say Daniel Boulud, Piedemonte. You say Daniel Boulud, you say Ren Redzepi, you got my attention immediately. This guy clearly knows how to cook. He's been trained under, two of the greatest. If there was a top 75 of chefs, we definitely have Daniel Boulud and Ren Redzepi in there, right? So,
for sure.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm excited to see what he's all about.
Mimi Weissenborn, she's from Frederick, Maryland, now at Portland, Maine. She is the proprietor, chef, and the executive chef at Sur Lee, Gather, and Catface Cafe. I went to Portland this past summer. It's a great town to visit, especially in the summertime. It's a beautiful place. Right on the water in Maine. Great food, great breweries. Maine Brewing Company is right there. If you've ever had lunch, their IPA that you can, it's all over the place now, but it's kind of like one of these entry level IPAs that once you've had that, you're kind of like, oh, I get it. I love IPAs. So Portland, Maine, big fan of Portland, Maine, big fan of Mimi's background here.
I love Portland, Maine. It's just like humble community. But like the food is just so good. And you know what? I think too, without being Canadian, she probably has the closest sort of like understanding of the food being in Portland, Maine, being so far up, right? Frederick, Maryland is also a great sort of tell as well. She's definitely seen the Voltaggio brothers at her local coffee shop at some point in her career or life when she grew up. And that's where they're from as well. Not too far from DC. So she has a lot of that like East Coast, heavy on the East Coast spin. A great name, by the way, as well. Mimi Weissenborn, like sign me up.
You're not forgetting that name.
That. Nope. No, not at all.
She's a James Beard semifinalist and 2023 nominee for Outstanding Hospitality. Next on the list is Paula Andara. She is my Kentucky girl, straight up. She's from Lexington, Kentucky, where University of Kentucky is. My father-in-law went to Kentucky. My wife's from Kentucky. So
That's right.
Big fan of that. She's also South American. She's from Ecuador, Quito, Ecuador. She's got a lot of South African, Ecuadorian influence. She's got she's an executive chef at Grand Am and Las Palm. I want to ask you, what is a Gold Key Award? Like, what does that mean in the industry? Is that just a publication, or is that that was on her bio, and I just wanted to see if you knew what that.
I'm not entirely sure. No, not entirely. I'm going to do my own research right now.
Gold Key Award.
A prestigious event dedicated to recognizing, honoring outstanding professionals in the multifamily industry. So clearly, it sounds to me that she is being recognized for sort of her eclectic spin on food, having that Ecuadorian background, a little bit of that South American background as well, which the food is. I'm going back to like my days in Nuella. Some of the food from like that part of the world is absolutely just mind blowing. And I'm excited, man. Paula, not only at Lexington, Kentucky sort of chops, I have a little bit of a sweet spot for Lexington, Kentucky as well. Season 16, shout out to the greatest season of Top Chef. But no, she's clearly is a chef that comes and takes sort of inspiration from different parts of the world. And I'm interested. I don't know too much about her, but I'm really, really interested to get to know her over this next season.
So, Eric, you are the best person to speak to this. Southern cooking, and then you're able to marry that with some other like cuisine. You're going to go deep in Top Chef with Sarah Bradley and KBC. The fact that they were both from, southern towns, Paducah, Kentucky, and then Dothan, Alabama. And Paula's she's dark horse in this competition, I feel like.
You know what? I would agree. She is the dark horse here. Don't sleep on Paula. She's going to be the one to, again, silent assassin. She gives me very like quiet vibes, but then knowing like her background, or at least a little bit from it, she's going to bring it. Flavor is going to be there. Technique is going to be there. And hopefully a personality that we can all know and love, after the show's done. I think she's going to kind of have it all.
Shuai Wang is from Shuai Wang, I want to say. Queens, New York, North Charleston, kind of the South Carolina, the face of South Carolina cuisine. This is, I'm stoked for this dude.
I am as well. Yes.
I'm in the Carolinas. I'm basically on the border of South Carolina. He's from he's got Jackrabbit, Philly, and King Barbecue in North Charleston. Seems like an awesome dude. I'm again, another one that I'm really excited to see on the show. He has 6,000 followers on Instagram, so he's got a pretty sizable audience there on social media. Seems cool as hell. I'm a big fan of him.
I am as well. I've met Shuai in passing, and for the maybe like brief 10 minutes that we spoke, super humble, really cool guy. I've eaten at Jackrabbit, Philly as well, and that food is just bonkers, so good. So just getting to know him just for a little bit, super presentable, very charming, extremely charming, like funny guy. I think a lot of people are going to love his personality, but this guy, I mean, Kitchen Confidential, as far as his background and sort of his inspiration with Anthony Bourdain. He's got, number one, a great sort of like foundation of cooking, but two, like he's going to be able to, I think, really put his own spin, his own sort of like POV on the food. And I think, again, his personality, even just meeting him for like 10 minutes, super brief in passing, man, this guy was just like lit up the room, great personality. So I'm excited, man. I'm excited for him. Happy to see another New York native out there as well.
I mean, he's from Beijing. He grew up in Queens, and now he's in North Charleston. So he's got a lot of really interesting background, man.
Yeah, we got some really interesting backgrounds, a lot of eclectic backgrounds. I feel like we're skewing very East Coast, though, this season as far as the chefs. We've seen chefs from pretty much the entire gambit as far as the South, the sort of Mason-Dixon line, and then all the way up to North Maine. So, man, I'm excited to see where all these chefs going to be doing. But with Try specifically, man, I think his background, like you mentioned, man, the Carolinas has a little bit of that South in him. Obviously, a massive background with being born in Beijing, and I know for sure he's going to bring those flavors and many of the challenges as well. So he's going to be someone to look out for. I might say, I'm not going to say too much about who I'm picking, but Troy might be up high on my list. Who knows?
He's a 5-star prospect for sure. Tristan Epps
Yeah.
is next on our list, from Houston, lives in Houston. He's a chef and owner of Epps and Flows Culinary. That's a bar.
I love that.
Come on, man. That's great.
Love
That's great.
that. Epps and Flows. That's another great name. Epps and Flows. I love the pun. I love the name. I don't know Tristan, but I can't wait to find out about his background. Caribbean American, Afro Caribbean, speaks to my heart, man. He went to my school and graduated at Johnson and Wales, so I already know what he's all about. And dude, like, if he's inspired by Caribbean food he's worked with, or inspired by Marcus Samuelson, I can kind of understand where his like POV with food is, and I mean that's the food I can eat 8 days out of the week. So Tristan, man, look out for this dude.
He says in the trailer, I can fry chicken and do a torchon of foie gras.
Yeah, I saw that. That was dope. I love that. I love the confidence right there, man. Like highbrow, lowbrow, and you have to have that. Like I've seen chefs, and we've all seen chefs who are just like super focused on like, fine dining, right? And then there's like a very humble backyard barbecue challenge, and they're just like crumbling, right? I love the fact that Tristan has a little bit of that, and can speak to both of those worlds, because you need it. You need something like the Super Bowl party, and you need something like the Oscars. You got to have, a dish for both.
He's strong to quite strong. He's also got the backwards snapback hat look that I rock every other day. So big fan of that. Next up we have on the list is Vinny Vincenzo, not to be confused with Dante DiVincenzo. Vinny Licetto from Long Island. He works in Napa now. He's the chef de cuisine at Press Restaurant. He is a alumni of the Bocuse d'Or competition. That's huge. 11 Madison Park, also huge. I believe he does in the trailer. We catch him being an emotional, shedding some tears at one point, which shows he's got a big heart. Something's going on in the competition. They want to tug at your heartstrings. He's a guy that I'm interested to see too. Bocuse d'Or, I feel like that's as close, if it's not Chopped or if it's not another cooking competition. I feel like that's is such a badge on your resume.
It's the hardest thing. It's literally a full year of training, a full year, if not more, dedicated training, and the rigor that you have to go through to just even like get to the next stage is immense. I know personally probably 10 chefs who've tried. I know personally maybe 2 chefs who've gone it and done it. So the fact that he's like an alum, he clearly.
Wait, does that mean like you're trying to trek the Appalachian Trail, where you're like, you've done it, but you didn't finish it? Like, that's what you're saying?
Exactly. Yeah. 100%. Yeah. Like they'll eliminate you immediately. Like you think you're a technical chef, and then you go to the Bosque d'Or and they'll just humble you immediately. So seeing chefs like Daniel Hume, James Kent, that right there immediately tells you that this guy has technical skill, period. Like his resume is as strong, if not on paper, stronger than anybody else's. And like Press Restaurant, I haven't been there, but I know the type of food that they put out as well, man. This guy, we were just talking about Epps, right? And sort of having that background between like, lowbrow, highbrow. He's highbrow. This is highbrow. Like he's like fine dining, soigné, no technical errors, which if you really get in that bag, man, and the challenges kind of fold your way, that's almost like a fast track to the top 3 immediately. He's going to be great.
100%. The line that is also interesting to me in his bio is that he grew up on the shores fishing and clamming in Long Island. So there's going to be some sort of challenge, multiple challenges that require you to, shuck an oyster or open up some clams, whatever it is, and then present a really awesome dish. And you got to believe that Vinny Lassetto has opened up some clams and oysters in his life. So
that will sounds help. Like a wise guy. You know what I mean? He sounds like he was just like on the Irishman, like an extra like cast member. You know what I mean? Vinny Lassetto. Like, get out of here.
All right. Then we've also got here Zubair Mohajir. So he was the first person that they showed in the trailer in an interview. I'm a little nervous about this.
I noticed that. Okay? I noticed that as well.
Little nervous about this. He's got a ridiculous resume. We're talking 2022 Jean Benchet, Rising Chef of the Year, 2-time James Beard semifinalist, first in 2023, Best Chef Great Lakes, and then again this year, 2020, this past year, 2024, Merging Chef of the Year. He was a financial analyst before, originally from Chennai, India, and then got into the culinary world after the big crisis in 2008, which is kind of the same story I had, which is after the financial crisis in 2008, I was like, I'm not doing the career that I thought I was going to be going into. I'm going to try sports. So I pivoted from that.
Wow.
And now here I am. So I sympathize with that whole thing. He started out as a prep cook, working his way up to a sous chef. So you know that if you're moving from the financial industry into a kitchen, you're going to be humbled real fucking fast. And
the Big Short, for sure.
I got to imagine it would be a wake up call for him to like go from that to like working at a Bank of America or a Lehman Brothers into, doing like the Forks episode of The Bear, where it's just like, what am I doing? Why am I doing this?
Why am I here? Why am I shining forks? No, but I can't even imagine how like in depth his finance career was. But when you come into the kitchen, like no one effing cares. No one cares. Like how you know how to crunch numbers. But the fact that he's like stayed regimented and focused and has made his way from prep to sous, and now he's an executive chef, like clearly this guy has dedication down packed, and he has a passion for what he's doing. I love his background. Number one, I love his background. His resume just screams like someone who can come in, another dark horse possibly. But yeah, man, it worried me. It gave me a little pause when I saw him first. I was looking for that specifically. Who is the first chef they're going to put out there on the promo? And it was Zubair. So yeah. I don't know.
All right. So his line in the trailer was also great. It was a Talladega Nights line. If you're not first, you're last. Right. So I already love his personality. But when you're the founder, executive chef at Lilac Tiger, Coach House, and Mira in Chicago, I'm already thinking, all right, he's a 2-time James Beard Award nominee, semifinalist. This feels like someone who, it's not that Top Chef is beneath him, but it's like, man, he's got some stripes on that shoulder. So he's got a ridiculous resume, interesting background. But once he's the first name or the first interview on the trailer, I get nervous. They got to give him some showtime.
Yeah. I do as well. We already know the first face sort of curse that Top Chef is just notoriously known for. And to do that on the premiere sort of like intro promo as you're entering all the chefs, it lets me know that they want to get this guy out, get his personality out, which typically means I don't want to say it. We'll see. Yeah. We'll see. I don't want to say it.
We'll see. Yeah. On that note, in the trailer, we have Zubair, Katiana, Tristan as like formal interviews of like where you get like some background bio information from them. And then we also have Kat Turner have a line about the D-bomb, Daniel Boulud showing up, and Massimo, kind of the bully thing. We have five interviews on the trailer, which is only like 2.5 minutes, but they were able to bring in those 5 chefs. So just if you're note taking at home and you're building your draft board, maybe I get Carly on this. Carly Levitz, who's now writing for Pack Your Knives Substack, doing recaps of Wild Card Kitchen for all the folks out there who have a subscription to our Substack. She is. I'm gonna ask her if she can dive into if there's any way we can research the theory, the hypothesis we have that if you're being promoted or showcased in the promo, what does that mean for your longevity on Top Chef? I'd be curious to find that out.
Without any sort of like hard data, just all anecdotal, personal sort of like interpretations of it all, and season after season after season, I've seen it just not work in the chef's favor. I got to be honest. But I listen, we'll leave it up to the professionals. Carly can do her thing. I'm pretty sure she can stack crunch and make some sort of sense out of this this puzzle that we have right here. But man, I'm excited, man. What a great promo. It was great to see Kirsten Kish do her thing now, and it feels like she's really settling into that host role, and obviously seeing Tom and Gail and all the other chefs. We saw Michael Cera. That was like amazing too.
Yeah.
Like that was that was really exciting. Man, this is a great season, and the guest judging is going to be amazing. The guests, the celebrities that they'll have in there is going to be great. No Justin Bieber sightings, but it's all good.
I was going to say, what is the big board, the power rankings of Canadian celebrities that we can put in there? Michael Cera, he has an amazing moment in Arrested Development, talking about Anne, saying that she does this May and egg, which, Maze, if you can clip this in, where he does this amazingly just cringe line talking to his dad.
She's got a little hard-boiled egg going there.
Oh, it's so cute. She sometimes takes a little pack of mayonnaise and she'll squirt it in her mouth, and then she'll take an egg and kind of, she calls it a May and egg. Are you okay?
I don't feel so good.
So if Michael Cera comes on Top Chef and as a quickfire, they have to do a May and egg, spin on the episode.
Can you imagine? That'd be crazy.
But aren't eggs in mayonnaise anyway? So it just feels like it's a redundant thing.
It's
like,
true.
Isn't that?
Yeah, that's true. It's
so I guess it wouldn't be that hard.
No. In different forms, raw and cooked. It sounds like, but no, it was cool. Who else can we see?
Punky Johnson, the comedian who used to be on SNL. She's on there. There's a list that in the press release we have a long list of chefs and kind of guest judges. I'll just read it off here. Andrea Aprea, Dania Baltzer, Daniel Boulud, Jeremy Charles, and I'm going to butcher a lot of these names, so I apologize. Ilona, Daniel, Greg Tarzan Davis, Connie D'Souza, Wiley Dufresne, saw him on the promo. Shayla Flaherty, Eden Grinchpan, Brenda Holder, Punky Johnson, Jet Li, Susur Lee, Hunter Lewis, Tracy Little, Antonio Park, Claire Reichenbach, Amy Schneider, Dwight Smith, Claire Smith, Mattia Roach, Paul Rogalski, David Zilber, and Janet Zuccarini. Anyone out there jump out to you?
Wiley Dufresne. Coming from New York, WD-50 was just like ahead of its time. Still probably is ahead of its time. We got to be honest, man. Danny Boulud, Punky was obviously really going to be great. We talked about Michael as well. No Aubrey Graham. What's going on with Drake? What's the deal?
Why couldn't they bring Drake? Why not?
Has
anything
Drake?
happened?
Like, come on. I don't know. Something's
he's in hiding. Maybe he's in some legal.
Year. I don't know. We'll see. Yeah,
paperwork that he's got to get underneath. He's not on here. We don't have DeMar DeRozan, Vince Carter, so I don't think we're going to do a Raptors episode. Doesn't seem like.
Come on,
maybe Muggsy Bogues. Right Shout out to Muggsy.
Low hanging fruit right there. Muggsy would have been amazing. Yeah. It's going to be a great season though, regardless of who's not on it. I'm excited to see, the caliber of chefs and just even the celebrities that they're going to bring in, and sort of like the spin and the jokes and everything else that makes Top Chef so fun to watch, outside of the obviously chefs and stuff like that. Another great season, an opportunity to see Tom just kind of like be extremely impressed or extremely disappointed. I'm always up for that as well. So dude, it's going to be good.
And we're going to have lots of returnee Top Chef contestants. I saw Danny Garcia is going to be back. Nice. There's going to be a lot of, I did see Buddha on there, which is great. So there's going to be a cast of alumni that are going to be on the show. But I'm mostly excited to do this show with you, Eric. This has been great.
Yes,
doing the kind of reacting off of the big premiere announcement, March 13th. Before we go, I want to ask you, how are things going on your end with Elmina, and of course your shows that you're working on, and anything else that you want to promote before we wrap up this week's episode, or this month's episode of Pack Your Knives with Eric Adjepong.
Cheers, bro, man. Thank you so much. Super excited. We're announcing our opening. We had a little bit of a setback as far as the first opening date. Man, it's so much as far as the permitting and licensing and all the stuff that we had to take care of. But we got it done. So happy, so thankful for all the folks in DC to help us get to this finish line. But now, we have an opening date, February 18th. We're opening to the public. Here in DC, cannot wait to serve. We're going to be extending hours from 4 to 11 the entire month of February, from the 18th to the 28th, just to kind of make up for those missed reservations the first go around. Wow. And man, we're ready, man. We're ready to serve. I'm here in the space right now. I practically live here. This is kind of like my bed. And dude, man, I can't wait to see you in here. I can't wait to see Maze and the entire crew in here, man. It's going to be awesome, and we're just ready to go. And Walk Our Kitchen doing great, getting some awesome feedback from the higher ups at Food Network, and just the people, man. The people are speaking, and I'm listening, and they love the show. It's so much fun to do. I watch every episode like I wasn't there, so it's really cool. I was like, oh shit, that happened.
That's how you know it's good, when you're willing to watch yourself and listen to yourself. I do that with Basketball Illuminati. When we do an episode, I'm like, oh man, I feel like we really did well on that episode. I'm listening all the way through.
You guys crushed it. That last one with the NFL Illuminati, that was hilarious. So good. I gotta say, man, like, I listen to a lot of podcasts, not just because you're in front of me, man. Basketball Illuminati is one of the best things that you can listen to and put your ears to. No, I'm dead serious, man. I love it. And I think that you guys just put up another episode not too long ago. So I'm ready to get down with it.
Yeah, man. We just did an episode that came out this week. Wednesday morning it dropped. Basketball Illuminati. If you like the NBA, you like conspiracy theories, or you don't like either of them, but you want to have a good time and listen to me ramble about some crazy stuff that's happening in the league. The secrets of the NBA, we reveal them on Basketball Illuminati. Things you didn't know happen behind the scenes. Dude, thanks again for coming on and riffing with us. I know it's a lot going on behind the scenes to get this show opening, but I can't wait to eat there and celebrate with you. And I can't wait for this season of Top Chef, March 13th, 9 o'clock. And it's going to be every week, 75-minute episodes. I'm trying to think if there's anything that I've missed. It's basically, there's one thing that I noted in the trailer was there's a really funny look at one of the challenges. It looks like is that they're going to serve on an ice rink, basically a dining table.
How cool is that? Yeah, there was slipping and falling. That was pretty cool.
Pretty cool. Any other things in the promo before we go that you were like, oh, I'm excited? And they're going to Niagara Falls, of course.
Niagara Falls.
Miserable.
Just even the intro, I think it was, they all had like the sort of like ponchos, the red ponchos, and they were just like in the elements. I can't wait to see the sort of ending of that. I can't wait to see all the outfits from the hosts and Tom, fashion icon himself. And ultimately, man, just to get to know a lot of these chefs and their personalities. I think Top Chef is always great for that. That's how they get the Emmys, man. We really get to know who these chefs are, and we fall in love with them, and we can't wait to eat at their spaces once it's all over. So yeah, it's going to be good.
Hey, enjoy everything at the Super Bowl party, including the wings and the ribs. I'm going to be chowing down on some ribs. My buddy's getting some Kansas City barbecue, shipped in, and we're gonna rock some ribs for sure.
Love it. Who are you going for?
So, you know what? As a Giants fan, I know it's weird. You might not believe this, but I am a New York Giants fan.
Okay, all right.
I think I am pulling for the Birds. I think I'm saying go Birds. I want NFC East. I want them to rep. And I don't like this whole like oh, they're not that good. Wait till they, Jalen Hurts faces off against Pat Mahomes and the Travis Kelce thing. It's rigged, all this stuff. I don't want that. Football Illuminati. My third eye is opening about how, Mahomes continues somehow, some way pulling these games out, but I would like to see the Birds win.
I gotta say, I love greatness. A three-peat has never been seen in NFL history, and I want to see it. I want to be able to tell my folks or my kids at one point, I was there to watch Patty Mahomes take 3 of them in a row. That's insane. Just even saying that out loud is wild. But yeah, man, this can be good.
And he's like halfway through his career.
Man. Get some wings, bro. Get some wings.
Yeah, we'll talk wings on another episode. I've got some wings questions for you. But Eric Adjepong, Elmina in DC, opening in February. Also, Alex versus America and Wildcard Kitchen on Food Network. Dude, the Knicks, they're doing well. Things are going well. Eric, thanks again for
2 All-Stars, brother. 2 All-Stars. I wasn't even born last time that happened.
Wow. Yeah, and I see the gray. Yeah. I see the gray in your beard. So it's been a while.
Elmina. Yeah, it's all Elmina at this point, man.
Appreciate you, Eric.
Yes, sir. We'll talk.